All right, 3-4 defense. Coach Brady back with you. We're going to talk about inside linebackers and kind of what we do for our inside backers as a manual daily work and skill set that need to be successful in our 3-4 defense. So getting started, we break it down into 6 main things for our linebackers. Keys, where are my eyes, what am I seeing? Okay, effort and communication. Obviously, they're leaders of our defense, our linebacker, inside backers, and they have to communicate what's going on. They're leaders on the field. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Block destruction and tackling, they kind of go together. We separate them a little bit because at the end of the day, I always tell our inside backers, your job is not to get blocked. Your job is to make tackles. So if you're not good at number 3, block destruction, you're gonna have a hard time playing this defense. All right. Blitzing, it's a big part of what we do in the 3-4, so you got to be good at it. You got to practice it. You got to understand blitz tracks. You got to understand blitz technique. You can't just run in there and get blocked. All right, we need guys that are able to move their feet and their hips and get to the quarterback, or in the run game, do a great job of fitting on the run blitz and making plays. All right, and then lastly, we pass coverage. Linebackers got to do it all. You got to be able to play the run, play the pass, rush the passer, cover a guy man-to-man, okay? It's a hybrid. You got to be able to do everything we ask of all different players on the field, okay? So let's start with technique and eyes. We want you to be technique sound, okay? You got to work at it. You got to watch tight film. You got to get your eyes used to seeing certain things that happen, all right? Your first step has to be perfect. We should always be attacking the line of scrimmage, okay, and stopping the run. All right, so for a linebacker, where are your eyes? We're going to tell our linebacker we want their eyes on their near guard, to the football, to the back. That creates a triangle. So we have a triangle read for our backers, okay, as long as we're in zone. Okay, if my backer's not playing man-to-man, if we're in a zone defense, okay, he can read his keys, all right? He's going to read that guard for initial read, okay? Is it downhill? Is it a pull either way? Is it a pass set? All right, that initially tells me I take my first 6-inch read step. Now I know what to do next. All right. Excuse me. What does your key do on the snap of the football? That tells us where to go. Now we already talked about in the D-line, talked about asker, alignment, stance, key, responsibility. Same thing for our inside linebackers. Okay, what's my alignment? Well, I'm going to align to execute. So I got to know what the formation is, where the backs are lined up. All right, if they have 2 backs and one's offset really wide to my side, I'm going to have to move my alignment a little bit so they don't get an advantage on us. Okay, I'm going to line to execute. Also got to know what my job is. If I have to play the seam but also play the B or C gap, I got to widen my alignment. Okay, if I'm blitzing weak A, I can't line up outside the tackle box. I'll never get there. All right, so these are just simple things we talk about because if we don't talk about them, the kids won't do them. But again, at the end of the day, it all gets back to eyes. Where are my eyes? What am I seeing? Okay? We always want to fill our gap first. Okay, I talked about this already about the triangle read. But my first job as a linebacker is my gap. Especially if I get eye backs, I'm thinking ISO first. That's my #1 job. Like everybody else in the defense, your first thing you're going to do is play your gap and do your job, your role, responsibility. Then I'm going to run to the football. Okay? Now as linebackers, we expect you guys to make a lot of plays. So we expect you to do your job in your gap and then go find the ball and get involved. Okay. Effort to the football. Hey, that's about wanting to make plays. The best inside linebackers, they want to make every tackle. That's great. That's what you should want to do. Okay. So we're going to hustle to the football every play. Looks great on film for our opponents, right? Get them a little worried about us, hopefully, is the plan. But the most important thing defensively for us is when we hustle to the ball, we prevent long plays from happening. Okay. All right. Communication. Like I said before, linebackers, you are the captain of our defense. We need you to understand our defense. We need you to disseminate all the information to the players. Okay? We have to eliminate those communication errors. Okay? That begins in our meeting rooms. Okay? And then on the field every day. But also in your personal life. Our linebackers got to be leaders in the hallways. Okay? Out in the community. That's what we expect of those guys. No different than a quarterback on the offense. Our linebackers, we expect you guys to be the leaders and be mentors and support other kids. And that stuff all correlates, okay, to success on the field. Okay? And then lastly, must be everything we do, we got to execute at the end of the day, right? What the call is, get it communicated, let's go execute what we're doing, okay, have some fun. All right, moving on. Block destruction, okay, the most important thing for a linebacker, okay? We got to use our hands, okay? We have got to use our hands to get off blocks. Now, my whole thing has always been don't take on blocks unless you have to. All right, we want to dip and rip a block and then get reset in our position so we can attack it. If I can avoid putting hands on the guy, I will. I'll dip and rip and get to the football and make a tackle. Again, you are paid to make tackles. All right, that's your number one job. If you are on a lineman or an offensive player getting blocked, you can't make tackles. All right, so we talk about ISO blocks. And on the goal line, there's times like that you're going to have to go take people on and knock them back or stalemate them so we can get a stop. But other than that, as a linebacker for us in the 3-4, we want you attacking through your gap, right? Dip and rip your gap, but go make plays. All right? And the last thing, and this goes for our whole defense, but especially our linebackers. If you're going to play linebacker in this defense, you've got to stay on your feet. And sometimes that has to do with tackling as well. You know, if we have linebackers leaving their feet to dive and make tackles, we're going to have a low tackling efficiency, right? Stay on your feet. If you can't get them, keep running. You'll get them in 3 more steps. But we want to be very careful about the diving because that leads to usually missed tackles, all right? All right, tackling. Tackling is all about your feet. Got to have a great stance. We don't really spend a lot of time on our linebackers on their stance. The biggest thing, we want them to be comfortable, be an athletic stance, want their hands to be down at their sides, relaxed, all right? But what's important is going to be your first step, okay? Your stance, your first step as a linebacker, 6-inch step, attack the line of scrimmage, okay? We're going to sprint to the football wherever it is. If I have to beat 1, 2, 3 blocks to get there, I will. Once I get to the ball carrier, now it's about gather. I want to gather my body under control so now that I can finish on a running back, on a ball carrier, okay? So gather isn't stop your feet, okay? It's get to the ball carrier and keep my feet moving, but get under a position where I can make a play. Whether you're blocking or tackling, you have to sprint somewhere, then get under control. That's what we're talking about here. Okay, and then the finish, okay? And this is where a lot of kids mess up. I think they don't finish, okay? You have to accelerate your feet on contact. You make contact with the running back, the ball carrier, or if you're blocking somebody, now your feet need to accelerate to finish that play. All right. All right. Stance. Feet under your armpits, slight bend in your knees. Okay, again, like I said before, we want your arms relaxed, hanging in front of your body. Okay, and the weight's on the inside balls of your feet. Okay, that way I have all the weight where I want it. I can go either way. We don't want our guys false stepping. If the weight's on the inside balls of your feet, okay, on your foot, that allows you to, that first step will always be forward. We also talk about turning our heels out for our linebackers. They have trouble. So that also doesn't, you won't false step now. We don't want our guys false stepping or hopping on the snap. We just want to take a 6-inch step, attack downhill, okay, and do our job. All right. Number one job for our for our linebackers is going to be to stop the run. That's your job as a linebacker. Okay, and we're always attacking that line of scrimmage. All right, one more thing. How we teach this drill, we get them lined up the first day, get them in a stance. Okay, work on popping into that stance. All right, and then just take that first 6-inch step based off of a key from a coach. If he steps to his right, they're going to step left, and vice versa. Then we're going to go 2 steps. Then we'll go 4 steps. Okay, we'll work on keeping our shoulders square within the tackle box at all times. All these drills we can do to simulate the footwork, so our guys get perfect footwork, and it just becomes muscle memory. Very, very important. Okay. Gather on the tackle. As you approach the ball carrier, bring your body under control by sinking your hips. Okay? So I'm running to the ball carrier. I get close. I'm going to sink my hips. I'm going to go toe to heel, toe to heel, toe to heel with my feet. That's the gather part of it, right? I'm getting myself ready to make a play. All right? And I got to know where I fit. Okay? Where's my help coming from? What is my job? What is my approach? Am I inside out? Am I outside in? Am I just going to make the play? All right? Where do I fit in this play? This is all the football acumen stuff that makes us better players, but helps our defense be better as well. Because we always talk about, hey, you're going to miss some tackles, but if you miss it on the right side and back to your help, we're going to be fine. Okay, if you're the edge player and you miss the tackle and the guy gets outside of you, that's a problem. Right? So we want to make sure we understand that part of it. When we're gathering and we're attacking, if I'm a contain guy, I'm going to attack that outside edge and force that back inside, that ball carrier. All right. Again, we talked about the finish. Okay, this is the part we got. Now we got there, right? We beat the block. We got in position. We gathered. Now I got to finish. Okay, step on that ball carrier's toes. okay, aggressively. Okay, when I make contact, accelerate my feet on contact. I'm gonna run through that guy. Once I get him, I'm gonna wrap him up. I got the uppercuts, okay? Uppercuts, grab the cloth in the back, okay? Finish the play. Do not let that guy go, all right? And Coach Gutekunst told me a long time ago in college, if the guy's on the ground at the end of the play, that's a good tackle, right? So however you get him on the ground, get him on the ground, all right? Now we're gonna work on really good basic fundamental tackling, but at the end of the day, get him on the ground. That's your job, all right? That is your job. All right, let's talk about chasing a ball carrier. Okay, so at linebacker, we're going to be chasing guys all the time. Okay, we want them to have bad nightmares about us after the game. That's our goal, right? Okay, if I'm chasing a guy, okay, I'm the first man there, I'm going to secure the tackle, all right? And then I'm going to get a strip. So I'm running behind, okay, the guy's in front of me, he's running towards the end zone, I'm behind him. I secure the tackle around the waist. I'm either going to punch that ball out if I see air, or I'm going to reach over once I secure the tackle. I'm going to grab his hand and try and pull his hand off the football as we fall to the ground, okay? A lot of big plays are made from behind. Okay, I cringe when I see somebody make a tackle from behind a ball carrier, they don't go for a strip. Right? That's one of the best times because that running back's running, he does not see you coming. Right? And sure, they practice it, but they're still going to fumble sometimes, right? We want turnovers. Takeaways, sorry. We use the word takeaway, not turnover. We're going to take the ball away from people, right? So I want to take it away, but I have to do that every time. Second and third guy in are going to strip and punch the ball out. That's where our vice tackle technique comes in, our gang tackling, everybody sprinting to the football. We all talk about those things, but we got to live it. It's got to be an action. It can't just be something we talk about. We got to actually do it. All right, let's keep moving. Talked about blitzing. Okay, so blitzing, it's a run play. So I'm a linebacker. I'm blitzing the A gap, B gap, whatever it is. Okay, I want to get skinny in my gap. I want to have great leverage. Okay, but one of the things that young guys do at linebackers, they run through the hole with their shoulder pads square. All right? I mean, imagine how much surface that is for an O lineman. All he has to do is get one paw on you, and you go flying, right? Or you get knocked out of your gap. Okay, so we want to get to that gap. I want to dip and rip. I want to get skinny in my gap and understand my key, okay? As we talked about in the D-line, the O-line is going to move. Your gap will change, right? But if I'm blitzing the B gap right there, it's still the B gap. Okay, and as that moves, okay, I'm going to move with it. Okay, and a lot of this is discussed in the Blitz Tracks PowerPoint I have. That's also going to be on the 3-4 defense stuff. So if you want more information about that, definitely go and check that out. They'll talk to you more about the Blitz Tracks, blitzing, understanding all that, okay? But this is very important for our guys. When we blitz to stop the run, okay, we got to be able to in our gaps and make plays. Now again, this is where it gets different. If you're a blitzer and it's a run play, we don't want to get penetration. We want to get to our gap and then get flat. And understand, hey, am I chase? Yes. If I'm A, B, or C gap, I'm a chase player. I'm running flat down the line of scrimmage. Because if I get 2 yards deep in the backfield, I'm not making a play now. Because by the time I get there, the ball's gone. So it's very important for guys to understand gaps, how they move, how I fit, and then getting skinny. Reduce my surface area, right? It's physics. Okay? Reduce my surface area so I'm harder to block. Okay, I can make more plays. All right, now it's a pass. Okay, they call my number, I get the blitz. Okay, we're going to work on pass rush as much as possible. We're going to make it part of our weight room if we can in the off season, at least one day a week. We're going to work on dent rip. We're going to work on club rip, flipping our hips. Okay, flipping your hips is not the natural movement for most kids. It takes time. But if you work on that from 8th grade, 9th grade, all the way up, by the time you're a junior, senior in high school, you're going to be unblockable. Because when you can flip your hips running full speed, okay, it's devastating to a blocker. It's really hard in the high school level to block that. So we've really worked on that a lot. Okay, we want to strip sack the quarterback, obviously, every chance you get. We work that drill a lot in our turnover circuits, okay, takeaway circuits. We want to take the ball away from them, but you gotta get that ball out, okay? We got to attack the football every chance we get. And the last one on here, again, is about retracing. And if you saw the D-line, we talked about that already, but it's the same for a linebacker who's blitzing. Anybody that blitzes, and this gets lost sometimes in translation, we forget to tell our other blitzers. Outside backers, inside backers, third level guys will blitz too. When they're blitzing, the rule's the same for them. If it's draw or screen, they got to put their foot in the ground and they got to retrace. Now, it's something we don't talk about a lot with them. The D-line gets it every day, right? These guys don't get it every day, but they have to still hear it, understand the lead dog principle, okay, on draw or screen. Because if they're blitzing, what's a great call against splits? A draw or a screen, right? Some offenses love doing that against certain blitzes. So we got to make sure we're coaching our guys up to understand that. All right. Pass coverage, another big part of playing linebacker, okay? We're going to be able to do pass coverage. Okay, we got to understand what our job is, where our pre-snap threats are located, okay? Have to know the whole call. Again, linebackers are playing every position on defense, really. They got to be able to be a D lineman, play the run. They got to be a DB and play the pass. So they need the whole call. They need the strength, the front, the stunt, and the coverage. They need all of it. They need all that information to be able to do their job, okay, on the snap of the football. Okay, so let's talk about rules for our linebackers and coverage. So one thing about our inside backers, which is good, they're never going to be a deep guy, right? They're always going to be underneath coverage. They're never going to be deep. So that's a good thing, okay? We're always going to play routes deep to short, okay? So any route over 5 yards, we're going to cover. Any under 5, we're not going to cover, okay? Because as soon as you start jumping 2-yard routes underneath, there's going to be somebody behind you, right? Now we're giving them an extra 8 to 10 yards without running for it and not earning it. Okay, let them throw the 2-yard pass. Let's go rally and get a tackle. All right, so that's something we talk about a lot. So I know linebackers, you want to hit crossers, right? We want to smash people running across the middle of the field, right? Which is great, but you go chase a guy at 2 yards, now they're throwing the ball behind their head for 15 very easily. Okay, that's something we don't want to happen. Okay, we do want to reroute them. Okay, the receivers as they're coming through the middle and through our zone, we want to reroute them. All right, make sure you hit them in front. Okay. And if we can knock them down, that's great. But at the end of the day, you don't want to go out of your way to try and knock somebody down and then give them a big play because you're out of your zone. Okay, so understand the difference in that and what we're trying to accomplish. All right. All right, so some of our coverage drops for our inside backers. So our Will and our Mike at some point could have a skiff drop. What does skiff mean? Skiff is seam, curl, influence the flat. Okay, it's off of number 2. So that means when you get lined up, if you know you're a skiff player, so it means we're probably blitzing, all right? But you're not blitzing, so you're in the coverage. I'm a skiff player on this play. What does skiff mean? Well, skiff means I gotta know where number 2 is. Is number 2 a slot? Is number 2 a tight end? Is number 2 in the backfield? Okay, that's a big help, number 1. You're still gonna read your keys because there's a zone. Skiff's gonna be a zone blitz, okay, or a zone coverage. So now I'm still gonna read my guard to the back and read my triangle. I'm still playing run first. Okay, but when I'm a skiff player, that means I'm also a force player. Okay, I have the edge of the defense. I'm a D-gap player. I'm gonna have to line to execute on that. So I'm gonna be a little wider in the box. Anytime I have a skiff responsibility, I gotta be wider. Okay, I gotta be in a 40 at least, if not a 50, depending on the call and the formation of the offense. All right, so it's a line to execute. So what's that mean? The ball snapped. I still play run first. If it's a pass, high hat, good. Now where's 2? I already know where he is. I'm going to drop towards him. Okay, my job is to play the seam first. That means a vertical route by 2 is my number 1 job. If he runs a vertical route, I'm going to reroute that receiver and see the football from the quarterback. If he does not run a seam, if he does anything else, I'm now going to work to the curl. So if I'm the left inside backer playing skiff, okay, ball snap, I take my 6-inch read step, pass, high hat, I open, quarterback's dropping. Now I check, where's 2? If 2 is not vertical, okay, now I'm going to widen that way to the curl, 10 to 12 yards deep. Okay, again, reading the quarterback. I do not jump a flat route. So for example, if 2 runs to the flat, or if number 3, say the back flares, I'm going to work out that way and keep leverage, but I'll never jump that route. The last part of that, influence the flat, means when the ball is thrown to the flat, I will then run and make the tackle. Okay, so recap real quick. Skiff. Read my key, play run first. If it's a pass, reroute the seam. Okay, if there's no seam, I go to the curl. And then if the ball is thrown to the flat, I rally there and make a tackle. All right, and I'm a force player in skiff. All right, flat dropper. This will be the Willie sometimes in our defense. Okay, sprint to aiming point of 10 yards. Okay, so where's number 1 receiver? Okay, I want to be about 10 yards deep from him and 2 yards inside. Now this becomes a natural thing. You put a cone there during camp or in the summer, eventually you don't need it anymore. It's a natural kid. They understand where to go, what that spot looks like. A lot of times for the Will, it's into the boundary, so it isn't that far to run. Again, if you are the flat player, understand this, guys. This is a run defense. right? If our will backer is playing the flat, okay, we're trying to stop the run. If they throw the ball to the flat, good for them, right? We can't stop everything with every defense. So that's okay, but we know in this defense, that's what his job would be. Okay, we're going to work flat really fast. Okay, it's an important point. Once I see pass as the will, if I see the quarterback set his feet, I'm not going to flatten out and run to the flat at 4 to 5 yards of depth or 6 yards. Okay? If I see play action pass or I see a 1, 2, 3 drop back type deal, now I'm working 10 to 12 yards of depth into the flat and getting wide as I can. All right? That's how we determine it with our guys, how deep their drop is on the flat drop. All right. A hole drop. Okay? Hole drop means I'm the middle of the defense and we're blitzing. Okay? So I'm going to line off number 3. I relate the 3. Doesn't mean I have number 3 man-to-man. I don't have a man-to-man. I'm going to relate to number 3. So that means when the ball is snapped, I got to know where number 3 is. I'm still playing run first because a linebacker, my number 1 job is always stop the run. Okay? Say that a lot of times because that's important from the guys that keep hearing over and over. All right? I'm going to drop over number 3, 10 to 12 yards deep. So if I have a 2x2 look and there's one back, that means the back is number 3. So on the snap of the football, I read my triangle. If it's pass, if the back goes that way, I'm going to open that way. 2, 3, and look for final 3. Because the first guy comes into the box, he becomes final 3. Okay? But if he's at 2 yards, I'm not going to cover him. I'm going to work over top of him, right? In case there's a guy under and a guy over. Or a guy comes from this side, right? Under, over from this side. So I'm still going to have my basic rules, but I'm working off a final 3 is my job. Okay? All right. Hook drop. Okay? In our base cover 3 look, our Will and our Mike will both just drop hook drops. Right? Basic coverage is a run defense trying to stop the run. We're just getting lined up. We want our guys to be able to play football. Okay? I read my triangle. I get a pass set. Okay, I'm going to work on a 45-degree angle to my hook area. Okay? This is a spot drop for us. We're just working to a spot. I'm reading the quarterback's eyes. If guys come into my zone, I'm going to reroute them. Again, I'm not jumping anybody 5 yards or less, but I'm going to take on anybody that comes any deeper than that and reroute them. If they're running with speed across my zone, I'm going to reroute and yell under to my buddy. Because in hook drop, we're going to work together to Mike and the Will inside. Okay, so they're running any kind of mesh route or under or an over, any kind of routes like that. We're going to communicate that to our buddy as they're coming. Okay, and again, always play deep to short. Okay, that's a basic drop. All right, man coverage for our linebackers. Okay, most of the time when our linebackers are in man, it's going to be a back or a tight end, H-back type person. It could be a receiver. All right, we'll try and help you if that's the case with the safety over the top, but it could happen. All right. But eyes on your man, align to execute. So in man-to-man for us, you're no longer reading the triangle. Okay? You are now seeing your man, and that's it. So your job is to take that back and go wherever he goes. Okay, we'll still try and see the blur and try and see the O-line if they're pulling. But at the end of the day, your job now, your key changes and when you're in man. Your key is your man. Okay, so you're going to keep your eyes on your man. If he goes and gets a hot dog, you put ketchup on it. Right? So I always tell him. All right, he is your guy. Keep your eyes on your man. You want to keep inside leverage. If your man is a back and he blocks, we are going to get him. We call hug it up, right? Hug it up. Because the worst thing that happens is you're the linebacker, you get the back man-to-man, and they run a screen, you don't cover them, they get a big play, right? If you go hug them up, they can't run a screen. So make sure. We coach our guys, okay? I got the back man-to-man. Pass, right? When I'm seeing my guy, he goes to block. He sets up the block, pass block. I'm running at him. If he blocks somebody else, I'm going to get to him and then divert right to the quarterback, hit the quarterback. Some of the biggest hits I've ever seen for linebackers has been there in man on the back blocks somebody else, they run to him, and at the last second they divert and hit the quarterback. Right? Some of the biggest hits I've seen for linebackers come from that technique. But it's not going to happen unless you immediately go attack your back right now on the snap of the football. Okay, you're still taking a 6-inch step towards your back on the snap. If you see him go to pass set, let's go, man. Go get him right now. Go hug him up. If he releases, you got him, right? If you're covering somebody outside of the box, now you're going to have inside leverage, okay, usually depending on the coverage. If we have safety help, you can take outside leverage, Okay, and that'll be a communication thing, and they'll be called in the call for you guys. All right, but that's man to man. And the biggest thing again for man for our guys is, remember, your key now becomes your man, no longer the triangle read. All right. All right, to finish, linebackers. Again, we put into 6 basic categories. We talked about your keys, what you're going to see, and your eyes. Okay, we should have to talk about effort. All right, but communication, we got to coach that every day. We coach leadership every day. Your linebacker coach needs to be coaching that. Okay, mentoring these guys, because they're going to mentor the team. Right? How they live their life and how they act, the grades they get, everything the inside backers do matter to the success of our defense. Right? They've got to be successful people for us to be successful on the field. All right? Block destruction. Okay? Beat blocks, be aggressive. Okay? Get good at getting off of blocks, understanding how to get off of people. Tackling, again, it's all about your feet. We've got to have great feet as linebackers. Should be jumping rope every day. All right? Working on our feet. Blitz technique versus run and pass. How is it different? How's our job change? What's our blitz track? Okay, and then pass coverage. What are our rules? What are we trying to accomplish in the pass? Okay, inside linebackers.